Hey.
Hey. What's going on?
I feel like... There, scoot over. Woo, blur! All right, how is everyone tonight? Hey, Calvin, I know you're in there. I see that.
Hey, people.
Hello, people that I can't see.
Hello.
And let's get started, man. So, always remember, like, share, follow, you know, all that fun stuff. What's up, Calvin?
Hey.
All right. So, tonight, we're just going to be random. Go back to our old ways.
We have nothing. Well, we got a couple things to talk about.
So, I wanted to touch base on Viking berserkers.
I wanted to bring up the whole Zodiac thing. I don't know if we could find some stuff on that and talk about it too.
Well, the reason why I wasn't wanting to do that is because I wanted to look into it more.
Yeah.
And get a little bit more knowledge on it before I went live with it, because it's just a lot to read.
Yeah.
So...
Jake's here.
What's up, Jake? I like the old ways. So, with the Zodiac thing, in case you guys didn't know, they think that they solved it finally. Like, it happened right after we did it.
They've actually pretty much have solved it.
Well, so that's why we want to touch base on it. But again, I want to read the whole article before we go live with it.
Yeah.
Nice. Tell me about the snakes.
The snacks.
The snake. No step on snake. All right, so let's get into this.
Let's do this.
Okay. So, here's going to be some really interesting facts about berserkers. So
they berserk.
Yeah.
They use I know they use the shrooms to help them out.
Well, we're going to get to that.
To get their trance-like state.
So, the Vikings were known throughout Europe as fierce warriors, and no discussion of Viking warrior culture is complete without talking about the history of berserkers, particularly...
Oh, Jason Dar's watching too.
Hey, Jason!
What's going on, Jason Dar?
So, basically, these are a particularly wild and violent sect of the Vikings.
The Vikings.
Like the warriors. So berserkers entered a state of like animalistic frenzy before they went to war, to combat.
Did they bring a beer bottle opener too? I don't even have my knife. I can't even show off right now.
I don't know how to help you here.
That's fine. I'll just open it with my teeth.
Yeah, let's not.
I gotta go to the doctor, guys.
I wish someone would go berserker on my man cavern.
Oh, Jake.
Can't wait. I just got bit by a big one and am currently bleeding.
Bit by what?
A snake.
A snack?
A snack.
Is it poisonous?
I hope not.
Jake's like, no, I don't need to go to the hospital. I'm just gonna watch you guys.
Goblin said, I watched Spaceballs, then Robin Hood Men in Tights, and then Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's a great day. That is a great day right there. Non-poisonous. Okay, cool. Good.
Was it a spitting rattlesnake?
So this bizarre cult of crazies, basically, or it was basically outlawed eventually. That's interesting. Okay, so
howl right now.
Yeah, there's howling.
What the hell? Sorry, my mom's watches in another room.
I can't look at the messages. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Let's see.
We're in the middle of a show right now.
No, he sent a picture.
Oh.
I think.
Yeah, there's no.
Oh! Ow! Ow!
It's not gonna show. I think it's just gonna show.
It's showing.
It is?
Yeah.
Huh.
Ow, guys! Ow!
Oh!
You don't behave yourself. What's up, Carl?
What's up, Carl?
Ouch. Well, ow. All right, so let's get back into this. Okay, so first off, they marched into war completely naked except for an animal pelt. They would go into combat without traditional armor. Instead, they would wear animal pelts, typically from bears or wolves. And the word berserker actually derives from two different words. So, ber being bear, and serker actually means coat. So, their name literally means bear coat. Otherwise, they were naked. I'm in. Pass me my loincloth. Up, here goes Cave Jake again.
What?
So
do you do? Sorry.
They lived like marauders in the woods. So they were they're basically shamanistic. They acquired their power through ritualistic practices. These practices included spending periods in extreme isolation, fasting, exposure to extreme heat and extreme cold, engaging in group weapon dances prior to combat.
Basically, they're the Super Saiyans of the Vikings.
Yeah, basically. So, in the wilderness, berserkers lived like their totem animal, adopting its mannerisms and habits, and sustaining themselves by hunting and raiding settlements.
Jake knows about totem poles.
So they would enter battle in a psychotic frenzy and just rip their enemies to shreds.
Well, damn it, makeup's going everywhere. I'm having a bad makeup day. I'm sorry.
I guess. Hey, Mikey.
What's up, Mikey?
So I'm actually going to read a little excerpt from, I'm actually not sure what this is from. So it says, this fury, which was called Berserker Gang, occurred not only in the heat of battle, but also during laborious work. Men who were thus seized performed things which otherwise seemed impossible for human power. This condition is said to have begun with shivering, chattering of teeth, and chill in the body. And then the face swelled and changed its color. With this was connected a great hot-headedness, which at last gave over into a great rage, under which they howled as wild animals, bit the edge of their shields, cut down everything they met without discriminating between friend or foe.
They didn't discriminate. Just letting you guys know.
Hi, Kisa!
What's up? Carl?
Is that where I get my attitude from? Probably.
I don't think so. I think, well, the Norwegians gave you your attitude. Yeah, that's you got it from us.
Carl, let's talk about the Yule Goat.
Let's talk about the Yule Goat, okay? Let's just leave the berserkers to us, the Norwegian descent and stuff like that.
I asked Carl about the Yule Goat.
I'm just kidding, Carl.
So there's this town in Sweden that they put up this goat. It's the Yule Goat, right? And you're not supposed to set it on fire, even though it's like, I think made out of straw and wood. But literally, it is like a tradition to try to burn down the Yule Goat every year. And there was one story that I read about a guy. So all these people had tried to do it, getting close. He took an arrow, lit it on fire, and shot it straight into the Yule Goat. And he burnt it down. Nice. Loving your TikTok. That sounded dirty. Yeah. That sounded really dirty.
We're loving your TikTok.
Norwegians are kittens. I beg to differ from what I'm talking about. He said Norwegians are kittens.
Norwegians are kittens. I'm going to teach you how to shoot in 2 weeks, Carl. I'm going to teach you how to shoot a rifle.
Is it 2 weeks?
It's 2 weeks from Friday. No, it's 2 weeks. Yeah, from...
Oh, okay. I thought Friday. It was like a week.
No, it's not next weekend.
So, while in this frenzied state, berserkers lost all human capacity for reason and self-cognizance. Self-cognizance. And were known to scream and howl constantly and rip enemies to shreds with their bare hands.
Yeah.
Here's the part that Frank liked. They ingested psychedelic mushrooms and alcohol before their battles.
They got fucked up.
They got all kinds of shit faced.
Well, the berserkers are the ones who, I don't know if you're, was it a Warhammer 40K?
Yeah.
They're Space Marines.
Yeah.
That's basically what they are. They love battle. They absolutely love it. And it's just, it's glory for them. And it's a big old party. They get messed up prior to it, and then they go in there and they tear things up. Absolutely tear things up.
Well, so they're said to have had to use, like, shrooms. And I quote, obscene quantities of alcohol before going into battle.
Yeah. Which obscene quantities of alcohol to a Viking is like really obscene quantities of alcohol to everyone else.
Yeah.
Really.
Dead.
Do not do what they're doing. You will die.
So, the American Journal of Psychiatry, Howard Fabing explains berserkers may have taken Amantia muscaria, which is a psychedelic mushroom containing bufotenine. And in trials, bufotenine has been shown to cause hallucinations and psychophysiological effects consistent with those that are described in Norse sagas.
A buttload, 426 gallons.
A buttload. I like it when Carl joins. Wow. Oh, hey, I see a meow in here. Stephen P. Kitty Cat, are you in here?
I don't know.
So, one noted berserker ate his own shield before felling 6 enemy champions.
Wow.
Carl says that is an actual measurement, by the way.
Old English. Old E.
Oh. No.
That's the real challenge of a berserker. Just hand him Old E. Can you drink this? No, it's terrible.
They're like, we don't even drink this.
It's awful.
So, berserkers were especially feared in battle because they were perceived as invulnerable to fire, swords, iron weapons. An Icelandic poem from the 13th century wrote of one berserker.
It's all Yeetus Deletus. That's all it says.
Oh, God. So, okay. A demoniacal frenzy suddenly took him. He furiously bit and devoured the edges of his shield. He kept gulping down fiery coals. He snatched live embers in his mouth and let them pass down into his entrails.
I got a feeling he didn't live, though.
He rushed through the perils of crackling fires, and at last, when he had ravaged through every sort of madness, he turned his sword with raging hand against the hearts of 6 of his champions. It is doubtful whether this madness came from thirst of battle or natural ferocity.
It came from a drug-induced
Shroom.
state, from shrooms and from alcohol, from everything else, and caused him to not feel pain in any way, shape, or form.
Apparently.
That's how this works. But
So,
Kisa says honey meat is bad. No,
whoa, honey meat's fantastic.
Meat is amazing.
We're going to make some eventually.
You got to get the right mead, because if you get the wrong one, it's way too sweet, though. There's a German company that makes a mead. It's called Pirate's Blood, and it's basically made from, it's like grapes and meat and honey. It's amazing.
Well, so this guy entered a state of frenzied rage, ate his own shield, swallowed fire, ran through flames, having exhausted all other methods of proving his insanity, took out 6 champion fighters.
Then had unprotected sex that night, probably.
Refusal to retreat from fire and iron is a common theme in Berserker lore. They didn't fear anything.
They weren't in their. They're freaking psychopaths. They don't. They're not evil. They're just freaking brutal.
So they're. So Swedish basic training. Yes. So
they're all here, Carl. We need you to eat these embers, and you're all. Well, I don't want to do this. No. This is Swedish basic training. You're going to eat this fire right now.
Well, so
here's your shrooms.
A berserker's ultimate goal was to transform into that animal that was their totem.
Yeah.
So a wolf, a bear, Berserkers did more than intimidate through their lack of armor. They also transformed themselves mentally. Not like, oh, I need a more positive state of mind. I'm going to read some... happy thoughts.
They act like a rampaging bear that's just going nuts.
Yeah, so Berserkers assumed the mental identity of the predators that they sought to emulate.
Well, it's almost like an earlier Skinwalker.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, the Vikings came to the Native Americans where the Skinwalkers, where all that the myth is actually prevalent, which is over on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they hit America at, was in Newfoundland and stuff like that. And
yeah,
maybe they got the Wendigo myth from a berserker.
Come on. So, the actual goal, the literal goal of a berserker in battle was to assume the identity and the characteristics of a bear or a wolf, and not just imitating. The berserkers were basically method actors.
I had heartburn. That's close enough to eat fire. Yeah, I hate heartburn.
Heartburn's the devil.
I can't stand it.
So, again, they were basically method actors. In fact, becoming a wolf or a bear was the ultimate goal of all the drugs and the drinking and the rituals that they all partook in. Living in the woods, emulating these animals served as preparation for the transformation, and they would enter that frenzied state. One of the final rituals on this path entailed drinking the blood of a bear or a wolf, and in another saga that I'm not even going to try to pronounce right now.
Where you at?
Here you go. Try it.
Eagle Saga.
No. That part.
Carl.
Skala Grimsonar.
Carl, translate this for us.
I get the Eagle Saga, but Skala Grimsonar, I think is what it says.
Yep.
Carl, I know I butchered it. I'm just going to say that ahead of time. I know. So, men saw that a great bear went before King Rolf's men, keeping always near the king. He slew more men with his forepaws than any 5 of the king's champions. Blades and weapons glanced off him, and he brought down both men and horses in King Hjalvard's forces. And everything which came in his path he crushed to death with his teeth. So that panic and terror swept through King Hjalvard's army.
They knew how to tap into something that basically just put them into a berserk mode.
Yeah.
They knew, they saw this, that if we went in there and acted crazy, then really became crazy, you know, especially through a drug-induced trance and stuff like that, that they knew that they're going to cause fear and panic.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The Vikings were not stupid when it came to battle. That's literally what they did.
Well, so, like, everything, it was so drastic that it's actually described as them being shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Well,
one of the things I've always thought about, like the early legends of, like, werewolves and stuff like that. I've always thought like it's actually more of a way of people trying to, explain away like psychopaths and stuff like that, like and back in the day like that, because at the time they couldn't fathom a person doing anything like this, because no other man would ever rape, murder, and kill just with pleasure and stuff like that. You know, especially a man of God or anything like that back then. You know, they would literally just this is where they actually explain away the myth. You know, they use the myth of the werewolf to actually explain away these people who are doing terrible, terrible things.
Yeah, exactly. So in Norse legend, to go berserk was to hamask, which translates to change form. So those who changed form by entering the berserker gang were considered hamrammer.
Jake,
hamrammer.
We have a hamrammer for you.
Or shape strong. In some cases, berserkers are described as undergoing drastic physical transformation, though this is no doubt. Well, okay, so people think that this might be hyperbole, but you don't know. You never really know.
You have this guy who's going nuts in the battlefield, coming at you, screaming, eating fire, basically eating embers and all that stuff, tearing up his shield, tearing pieces of wood out with his tongue, with his teeth, and all that stuff. It's going to look pretty
animalistic
in the middle of battle, especially in the middle of battle, because you're already panicked, the adrenaline's up, and then all of a sudden you have this whatever it is coming at you.
It's just flying at you.
It doesn't make sense to you in any way, shape, or form, especially like because our brains are geared to try to make sense out of what's in front of us. But then you just have this person who's acting completely opposite on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It does not make sense.
Well, Eagle Saga says the hardest of men with a touch of uncanny about a number of them. They were built and shaped more like trolls than human beings. So say that. My brain just stopped.
Ynglinga
Saga?
Ynglinga Saga.
Says his men rushed forward without armor, were as mad as dogs or wolves, bit their shields, and were strong as bears or wild oxen, killed people with a blow, but neither fire nor iron told upon them. This was called Berserker Gang.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently eating shields was something that they just did all across the board.
Yeah.
Their maniacal behavior was a complete shock for their enemies. Hey, Ange.
Hey, Ange.
How are you? Oh, God, my nose itches. It itches. Sorry, guys.
Don't mess up the makeup.
What makeup? This is how I look.
Right.
God, that itched. Okay, sorry, y'all. So their maniacal behavior would completely shock their enemies, especially foreign troops.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Scandinavia, they knew the stories, they knew what to expect, like in their areas, but they would go conquer other locations. All they had was these stories, but they had no reference for it until they saw it in person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Scandinavian kings such as Harold and Halfdan used berserkers as shock troops.
Yeah.
They were also used for like advancing the attack in group battle.
You got a big dude with a giant axe running at everybody. Everyone's gonna follow them.
Yeah. So this served two purposes. Obviously, it cleared the way for the army to follow and struck fear into the hearts of the enemies. Berserkers were also closely associated with the cult of Odin, or the god of royalty, and about like hundreds of other things.
God of War, Odin is the first berserker, is what he is.
Yes.
That's literally what he does when he goes into battle. Odin just snaps and just murders everything.
But he actually turns into other things.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, thus, sending berserkers into combat as the avant-garde may have curried favor with Odin.
Well, the funny thing is that within the Scandinavian culture, you basically have these stripped down gigantic men who are high on shrooms going into battle as the avant-garde, or the soldiers to send into battle, right? And then you have all the other armies, and their main soldiers are just all armored up, everything to the teeth, and they're basically trying to be these badass martial artists or whatnot. And then you just have these guys who are drunk and on shrooms just mowing people down with giant axes and clubs and shields, tearing them down.
Butt naked.
Yeah.
Dick swinging.
Either half naked or fully naked. That's just how they did it. And then
they were just swinging into battle.
Crazy thing is they survived.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them survived.
Most of them. Well, the other thing is they were also used as royal bodyguards quite often. Follow the big guy!
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can help you feel better. I know you haven't been in the best of spirits.
Well, watch us and let us entertain.
Hopefully we entertain. So, they went so mad that they were eventually outlawed. The first mentions of berserkers was in a Norse poem about the first king of Norway, Harald Fairhair, who lived from 860 until 940. The poem mentions a warrior gang in Harald's army fighting while clad only in animal skins. However, by 1015, Norway had officially outlawed berserkers. The legal codes of ancient Iceland also specifically mentioned berserkers, branding them as outlaws.
How do you outlaw a mental condition and people who are just on shrooms? You can't outlaw. I mean, they're still going to get in the battle. They're still going to tear things up.
Oh, yeah. I did. Thank you.
Right?
She sent me a cool video. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
So, by the 12th century, berserkers were berserkers in any organized force.
Did they have a Geneva Convention over it?
Basically.
They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
We're going to have a convention. You guys are really messed up.
So, their psychotic pillaging may have given Vikings a bad rap. Whatever.
Oh, well.
I just like how Thor's coming down, like, with a goat. His goats. Right there. Right there. Look at those.
Well, they can't see that.
Well, you know what?
You got to say we got to...
Psychotic raping and pillaging.
Yep, we're just going to go with that name.
I'm just going to keep that name, guys. Yep. Psychotic raping and pillaging. What the hell? So if you guys want to see what we were looking at just now.
Yep.
There's Thor.
And it was labeled psychotic raping and pillaging.
Yep. There's his goats. I can't remember their names right now, but they do have names. And I'm loving how he's just like grabbing this guy's head and like,
get over here. You're going to get this.
Speaking of psychotic raping and pillaging.
Here's Thor. Psychotically raping and pillaging this dude.
And then I like this guy up in the corner.
He got ran over. He got his foot ran over. He's pissed.
This guy right here. He's like, ah!
My foot!
What the hell, Thor?
And then the goats are obviously just messed up from the thunder and all that stuff. They're like, ah! Just running everywhere.
Black Phillip.
All right.
I fart in your general direction.
Now go away before I taunt you for a second time.
Ma! There's a skeleton cowboy and a Wendigo on the TV. What's up? Billy and Bob? I don't think it was, but I can't remember his goat names.
But he cannot take the goats over the Rainbow Bridge because their hooves are so strong that they could break the bridge.
Their names are this is why I can't remember them. Tan Grisnir and Tangyoster.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I can never remember it.
Commercial right now.
Thank you.
Yay.
Don't get me started on Monty Python. Oh, we will. All right, so we're going to go to a brief commercial, and we will be right back.
This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary, and you're watching PBDC TV.
Oh, hi! First thing in the morning, when I'm listening to music and getting a little bit of time for some creepy research, I'm always representing with my PBDC merch. What a better way to have a cup of coffee in the morning.
Don't forget to check out our other cool merch at rootsbleedred.com. That's rootsbleedred.com.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
Hi!
Hey.
Diva Dino. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries.
Now go away before I taunt you a second time.
Where did you get a...
We are no longer the knights who say me. We are the knights who say eki eki woo. A shrubbery!
I want you to go into the middle of the forest and cut down the largest tree
With
with
a
a herring!
herring! And then they're like, this is stupid. They just walk away.
No, no. It's just a flesh wound.
This is a flesh wound.
You're missing your arm.
The freaking Black Knight. I'll gum you to death.
Come here, I'll bleed on you. I'm not dead yet. It's okay, he will be soon.
Come back here, I'll bite
I'll
you!
God, I love that movie.
What is your favorite color? Blue.
No, yellow. Ah!
Gus is that. What's his face? Lancelot just went through like it was nothing.
I just like where he's like, what is the average flying velocity of an unladen swallow? Well, would that be European or
South African.
or would
Or
be,
African.
that be African or European?
What? I don't
Well,
know.
I don't know. Ah!
You gotta know these things when you're king. All right. Back into it.
Wackus bonkus.
Ooh, you naughty wackus bonkus. The best part is all these chicks on TikTok who are doing that. It's all these chicks who are accountants on their OnlyFans page.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hilarious.
Oh, I need to make that a TikTok. Yes.
Ugh.
All right, so let's jump back into this. So, a lot of behaviors commonly ascribed to Vikings have very little connection to ancient Norse society. They weren't running around raping everybody, though they
I'm pretty sure
did do a lot of breeding.
Yeah. You have to
Um,
understand us Vikings and Scandinavians. We're pretty sexy, not gonna lie.
there really was a sense of gender equality and fairness
Yep.
in social treatment. Their modus operandi wasn't necessarily to destroy everything in their paths. It was to conquer it, to take it, to have it, and also invite others to
You have to
join their way.
understand that Vikings were businessmen. They wanted trade.
Yeah.
The only thing that really ended the Europeans and stuff like that could not beat the Vikings in battle. They couldn't. What ended the Vikings, or at least got them to stop fighting everybody, is when Christianity came in and trade. They wanted to trade, and then also they wouldn't trade with the Vikings because they weren't Christians. So then this is where you get the Norwegians and the Scandinavians basically being they're Lutherans or whatnot, and but only 1% of the population is actually practicing Christians and stuff like that. That's where you get that from because they're like, well, screw it, we have to trade, but whatever, we're still going to maintain our gods and stuff like that.
For example, the churches that got burnt down with the whole
the black metal churches.
Yeah.
Well, you have the stab churches is what they're talking.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about how like at the top there were actually representations of Odin. Like above their crosses on the churches.
You have to understand that. Well, it's not just of other gods, so that is very representative of their faith. They had the giant cross, and then above it they had two ravens, or they had two wolves, or they had something for Thor or whatnot, or or like Freya and all this stuff. That's what they really were worshiping when they went into those churches. Even still to this day.
Oh yeah, and that's why it was so ridiculous to have some of these guys burn the churches down there. Besides,
for sure, it was actually one of the biggest travesties. I mean, I'm huge in obviously huge into black metal. I've been in black metal for I want to say about 25 years now. But when they burned the churches down, they didn't actually kill anybody when they did it. But at the same time, they killed history.
Yeah, well, those were 1,000-plus-year-old churches.
And they're like, their whole logic is like, well, they've dominated Norway or they dominated Sweden and stuff like that. It's like, no, they haven't. Did you not go in there? You guys are just being children right now.
Yeah. Well, and then there's, of course, the story of Beowulf, which actually does address Christianity coming in.
Well, Beowulf, the whole thing with Grendel was actually supposed to be half son of or descendant from Cain.
Mm-hmm.
The monsters and stuff like that actually came from Cain.
I think we're actually going to touch base on that.
Yeah, we actually are. So.
All right. So, hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
How are you?
How are you?
All right. So where did these ideas come from? Of course, they, at least in part, came from the Berserkers. They were the villains of many Norse sagas. They were generally described as a predatory group of brawlers and killers who disrupted the peace of the Viking community repeatedly.
Okay, but here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Trusting the word of a berserker is like trusting the word of a fisherman.
It was this big.
I caught a fish this big. I swear to God, guys. That's the same. That's the same difference. These guys were nutsos, and they're going to just they're going to make themselves. They're going to beat themselves up even more.
Yeah. So, the classic image of the raping and pillaging Viking party appears in descriptions of berserker behavior. Justa Danorum. It's actually part of 13th century Danish history. Saxo Grammaticus wrote, the young warriors would harry and pillage the neighborhood and frequently split great quantities of blood. Or excuse me, spilt. I went so dyslexic.
Yeah, I actually read it split too. I don't know why.
Spilt great quantities of blood. They considered it manly and proper to devastate homes, cut down cattle, rifle everything, and take away vast hauls of booty. Of booty.
Booty work? Did they take booty work?
Yes.
Is that what they did?
Hey, Jeannie. I'm so sorry.
Jeannie Savage.
Hey,
Hello.
Jeannie.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Long time no see.
I'm sorry.
Vast hauls of booty.
We have to listen to booty work now.
Yeah, I know. Burned to the ground houses that they had sacked and butcher men and women indiscriminately. And more specifically about their psychotic sexual exploits, so outrageous, the unrestrained were their ways that they ravished other men's wives and daughters. They seemed to have outlawed chastity and driven it to the brothel. Nor did they stop at married women, but also debauched the beds of virgins. No man's bridal chamber was safe. Scarcely any place in the land was free from the imprints of their lust.
So when the Vikings showed up, more than likely,
it was like women taking their bras off and throwing them at the...
Yeah, and second of all, they did show up and they did pillage and stuff like that, but they weren't evil people and stuff like that. They actually are very caring and kind people.
Keep in mind, though, this is from a Danish historian, Saxo Grammaticus, from 13th century. Booty, 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 running everywhere. Oh, great. Now I got to listen to both Sparks. I found you, Miss New Booty. All right, so they weren't the only fearsome warriors at the time.
The Shield Maidens were actually on par with the Berserkers. Mm-hmm. And going back to what we were talking about a second ago, being that there was equality in their society, so there was also equality among them in battle. And these Shield Maidens were absolutely a beast.
So there was a burial site that they found somewhat recently, right? And it had or I guess it was a burial site, kind of. It was a ship. I'm sure it was a pyre. They found remains of what was assumed to be a great king, right? Mm-hmm. They did a little bit more testing. They found out it was a great queen.
Yeah.
And she was a badass. Like, a total badass. Taking people out twice her size in battle.
Well, both men and women went to Valhalla. It didn't matter. You just had to be a great warrior, and that's how it happened. The Valkyries came and took you, regardless whether you were a man or a female. You were gone.
So, this is actually going to touch base on other cultures, too, here. Berserker-like activity has been documented in culture and literature outside of Scandinavia as far back as the Iliad, in which a combatant is possessed by a god or a goddess and assumes superhuman powers.
Well, look at the Spartans.
Yeah.
Spartans, man.
This is Okay, I love that movie.
Yeah. I love 300, but
love that movie.
But no, even the Spartans were actually ahead of their game in tech because you had the Persians who basically had reeds, and so not reeds, but what is it? Basically they had straw shields and stuff like that are like woven and stuff like that. But you had the Spartans who had bronze shields and bronze armor and stuff like that. And also the Spartans were obviously they're a warrior society. They trained constantly.
They trained from a young age.
It's what we do with our military. That you bring them in when they're 17 and 18, and then you
Come on, yeah.
you basically say, "Here's your gun. We're going to teach you how to shoot. We're going to do this stuff," and you will
They completely break you.
You'll immerse yourself into this culture of war.
Well, they completely break you to build you back up.
Oh, exactly. And I'm not knocking it. I'm saying that that's how it's done. If you want a country that's not going to be messed with, you do this to certain peoples with that and make them a warrior class.
Oh yeah, and I will say that we, as our military, has taken some tips from the Vikings.
Oh, we didn't just take some. We took a lot. Pretty much, we took from the Spartans and from the Vikings, all of it. And we're like, this is what you are. You are a warrior, and you will fuck shit up.
Well, interestingly enough, one of the things that they have you do is that war cry is when you're going at an enemy, you want to make noise. You want to startle them. You want to scare the shit out of them.
Unless you're Spec Ops. You don't want to make
noise.
If you're
unless you're that.
You don't make noise.
Unless you're supposed to be silent.
You know, if you're an Army Ranger, you don't make noise. You just go in there and just tear the country down with 5 people. That's what Rangers do, because Rangers are tough as hell.
In Malay culture, individuals who have shown no sign of violent behavior or anger will acquire a weapon and suddenly launch a frenzied attempt to murder or seriously injure as many bystanders as possible. The innocent typically concluding with the individual's death or incident, excuse me. This is known as running amok.
You're running amok.
Yeah. Irish mythological hero.
I cannot.
Cuchulainn exhibit a warrior-like frenzy similar to that of the Viking berserkers.
Jesus Christ.
Known as war spasms.
The Irish words are.
Well, I got to show you how Siobhan's spelled.
No, I get it. It's. I'm like that's worse than backwards B's and upside down R's like Russians have.
Well, so these berserker-like frenzies that Cuchulainn would go into were known as. God.
Sorry, I burped.
Were known as war spasms. The phenomenon is described in an Irish epic that I am not even going to try to say.
Do they have? Let me ask.
Tenbo Quailig.
You know, the one thing I noticed about Irish words, or are they Gaulish or Gaelic?
Gaelic.
The Gaelic words.
Mm-hmm.
I always get confused with Gaulish and Gaelic and whatever, but the Gaelic words, they're very close to Chinese words. If you've seen it, like how it's actually pronounced and stuff like that. Like I don't get it. I can sit there and read. I can read German, and I can pronounce it. I can't understand it because I don't speak German, but I can actually pronounce it and stuff like that. And especially like the Scandinavian
I can say funny
one.
shit in German.
Finnish is absolutely off the wall, the hardest language ever.
I'm trying to learn Polish, and that's difficult.
Finnish is a cross between Old English, Scandinavian, and Russian, and whatever else there is, and it's just complicated.
Oh,
Finnish is actually the most complicated language in the world.
It's hot in here, guys.
I know. We have to have our air off so it doesn't mess with them.
So, okay, now we're going to read from this epic. The war spasm overtook him. It seemed each hair was hammered into his head so sharply they shot upright. You would swear a fire speck tipped each hair. He was a redhead.
Most of the Irish were.
He squeezed. Actually, it's most Scots are redheads. But okay, he squeezed one eye narrower than the eye of a needle. He opened the other wider than the mouth of a goblet. He bared his jaw to his ear. He peeled back his lips to the eye teeth till his gullet showed.
Like that.
Yeah. The hero halo rose up from the crown of his head.
Oh, Calvin, it's like, I think it's down to 50 right now here.
It was like 48 earlier.
Yeah, it got up to 70 degrees today. That was the hottest it got here.
I was a little warm with that too.
But yeah, I had to take my sweater off. But other than that, like, it's back down. It's just, we don't have airflow in our room right now, and we have to keep everything off for the mics. So
talking about Grendel, it's actually possible that he was a berserker.
Well, there's actually also a myth that Grendel might have actually existed there was an ancient tribe called the Wolf Danes, I think. And he might have been a Wolf Dane.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
They were basically this big, hairy tribesmen out of Denmark or something like that.
Well, invulnerability to fire and iron, berserkers were said to possess supernatural powers to weaken opponents in combat through tricks and sorcery. Norse mythology repeatedly discusses the berserker's ability to blunt an opponent's sword and spear with spells, or even just a menacing glance. This is a characteristic described as long ago as the 10th century in the epic poem of Beowulf, in which it is attributed to the monster Grendel.
But you brought up something though with Beowulf that was actually very prominent throughout it. Like we read it when you're reading it as a kid or reading it or you're watching the movie Beowulf with what's his face Skarsgård. He played Beowulf, the father Skarsgård, Stellan Skarsgård. And it's fun because you're sitting there watching, you're like, oh, cool, Vikings and all this other stuff. But the real meaning of the story, especially part of the sagas and stuff like that, is the old gods leaving, the old ways being done, and the new ways coming in. You know, like which is Christianity and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So in an article, Lambda Alpha Journal.
Lambda, like
Yes.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes. A publication of Wichita State University's Department of Anthropology makes a case for the importance of understanding the significance of Grendel's association with berserkers, given the prominence of many Scandinavian motifs in Beowulf. Grendel coincides closely with the characteristics of the berserker. Grendel seems to possess a spirit form. He undergoes transformation during his attacks on Herod. Grendel's appearance is horrifying. Grendel seems to have shape-shifting abilities. He also possesses the berserker's famed weapons and immunity.
He also has a link to animals and nature and stuff like that, which was the berserkers had too. Hey Dizzy, congratulations on your having a kid or going to have another kid.
Kid number 3?
Kid number 3?
Is that right? Awesome. Congrats.
But yeah, Grendel is very much in touch with nature, which is when they talk about Grendel being a child of or a descendant of Cain, which links him nature and stuff like that, being linked to Satan and stuff like that, and all that stuff. That's what he is.
Well, so during his attacks, Grendel shows the signs of the berserker rage, including swelling and rage after battle. Grendel falls into an extreme exhaustion or war weariness. And finally, Grendel is set apart from the society of the Danes by his violence against that society.
Well, yeah, Grendel, the encroaching society on nature is what there's several different translations. But one of the ones that was actually pretty cool was society coming into nature and destroying everything and then building everything up. And then kid number 9.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Kid number 9, 5 for the wife.
You are like hitting the bullseye every time, bro. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
But Grendel, it was the whole society or the cities and stuff like that actually tearing down the forest and stuff like that, killing the animals and stuff like that, and nature actually fighting back.
So here's getting into some psychological aspects of it. Did the berserkers suffer from an unidentified psychological disorder?
I would dare say yes, because they picked. When you're in war and you're picking your soldiers and stuff like that, they picked the most brutal and the most. They basically
sociopathic too.
No, psychopathic.
That's true.
Not sociopathic, because technically everyone at this time is probably sociopathic, because there was a lot of messed up things going on, especially in the Dark Ages. Like this is a death rate alone, man.
Yeah.
You were lucky to live past 25. And actually in the Viking society, there was a lot of people actually living up in their 80s and stuff like that. But
sorry, I'm making funny faces at the ad underneath it.
The intestines. And stuff like that.
This simple trick empties almost immediately your bowels every morning.
It's no different than. I hate to say this way, but it's no different than Army Rangers basically picking their spec ops and stuff like that. Actually saying, okay, well, you can't exactly apply to be to go to spec ops schools like that. We have to pick you, meaning we need to see if you have the right mindset to go in, take down an entire country, and actually have no feelings for it in any way, shape, or form. Yeah,
not kill yourself from it.
And again, I have no. The Army Rangers are badass, and amazing. I absolutely love them.
So in 1987, Dr. Armando Simpson published a paper in which he argued berserker rage or blind rage syndrome should be included in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
Well, we talk about it all the time with serial killers too.
Oh yeah,
to their berserker mode.
So the syndrome is characterized by aggressive overreaction to physical, verbal, or visual insult, amnesia during the period of violence, abnormally great strength, and target-oriented violence. Dr. Simon presented recent case studies and explained how they paralleled the behavior of berserkers. He also claimed the condition has been diagnosed in conjunction with other violence-related disorders, such as intermittent explosive disorder, which a lot of serial killers have.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry.
Hey, Ronald.
Hey, Ronald. Yeah, they very much
Yeah. Oh,
have
yeah.
a lot in common with serial killers.
Well, intermittent explosive disorder, blind rage
Hey,
syndrome, with the target-oriented violence, all of that. Hi, Casey. How are you doing? So, this idea doesn't quite explain away everything that the berserkers did. For instance, going into a blind rage for an entire day after years of trying to become a bear, then rampaging through a village and raping people. Not that they didn't have a mental disorder, but,
Well, here's
drinking wolf and bear blood and eating shrooms probably just,
yeah, the shrooms. Well, it's drug-induced dementia.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, not dementia, drug-induced
Well, that's as far as that's as close as I can say.
amnesia?
Amnesia?
Are you talking about with the
No.
amnesia for the violence?
Look, I hate to say this, but when you see crack addicts on the side of the road, that's drug-induced who are super old, but they're going nuts. When you see them just going nuts, like beating their head against the wall or something like that, that's drug-induced dementia right
I
there.
wouldn't say it's dementia, though, but I get what you're trying to say. I can't think of the
I
term
can't think
either.
of the term either, but that's just drug-induced schizophrenia.
Yes.
So like that, drug-induced
Glad to
schizophrenia.
hear it.
Nice.
But keep in mind, not all schizophrenics are violent.
Exactly. Actually, the vast majority of schizophrenics are not violent.
Yeah.
Very few of them are.
Oh, awesome. So this is a good friend of Dizzy's and also the newest member of Nightmare Clowns.
Nice.
Awesome. Congrats.
I like
I know
the
that a
Nightmare-
bunch of you are actually in SAS this year.
I like the Nightmare Clowns.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty nice guys.
So,
Sykes, Dizzy, all those guys.
I want to say Dizzy's wife is Star. Am I correct here, Dizzy?
Is Dizzy Dizzy's wife? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm joking. Sorry. So the English word berserk is derived from the berserkers. Shocking, right? The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines the word berserk as one whose actions are recklessly defiant. It also gives an alternate definition of the word as an ancient Scandinavian warrior frenzied in battle and held to be invulnerable.
You know what's funny, and it just popped up in my head right now. During 2003, when we invaded Iraq again, when we actually invaded Iraq, and you had Bush bringing up, we're doing shock and awe.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching this going, that's a Bush.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My wife is Crystal. My mom's name is Star. Oh, okay, cool.
Awesome.
But you had Bush going, we're doing shock and awe. I was like, no, you're doing Blitzkrieg. It's all the same shit here.
Oh, check this out. So we have Dizzy in the SAS. Jeannie here is in the SAS, I think. Yeah, good luck to everybody in the SAS this year.
Yes.
Have fun.
Have fun.
I'm
Scary
excited
Face
for
is
you
awesome.
guys.
Tyler's
Yeah.
awesome.
Hell yeah. So basically what it really boils down to is all of this came from a group of people, but today it is simply somebody who is angry to the point of being irrational.
It's all the same shit.
Yeah.
It's someone who's...
But it all boils down to, oh my God, he went berserk.
It's irrational actions is what it is.
Yeah.
You're berserking out. You're not going... You're hulking out or whatnot. Or I guess that would be the term.
Oh, yeah.
But
So I wanted
we
to
are at
end
the
it with
end.
one more thing.
What was the website we got this from?
So, that one was Ranker, I believe.
Okay.
And this other one is the artofmanliness.com. And I was trying to find something interesting to say here, but
Oh, well.
what?
A worse provision no man can take from table than too much beer bidding. For the more he drinks, the less control he
Beer
has of
biting.
his mind.
Beer vibing.
Beer biting. No, sorry, right, that was his D's. There you go. There we go.
So,
Oblivion's heroin. Tis
Heron.
called heroin. Whatever. Oblivion's heron. Tis called that other potions?
Quotations.
Well,
Hovers.
he stills the minds of men with the bird's pinions. I was fettered in Gunlaw's dwelling.
Well, here we go. A cowardly man thinks he will ever live if warfare he avoids. But old age will give him no peace, though spears may spare him. There you go.
Well, it comes down to the whole Thor. I don't know. It popped in my head right now. The Thor and 9 steps when he killed Jormungandr. Thor took 9 steps after he killed Jormungandr. When it was all done, he was a bloody mess. The rain was falling, everything was speckling, all the stuff, and all he heard was just the rain falling as he took 9 steps. But the men remembered what he did, as in battle. So
One more. A foolish man thinks all who on him smile to be his friends. He feels it not, although they speak ill of him when he sits among the clever.
That's relevant. Dog.
You know what? I have one more. A foolish man. Hold on.
A foolish man thinks all who speak fair of him, or speak him fair, to be his friends. But he will find, if into court he comes, that he has few advocates. I cannot do the Shakespearean.
We're going to do a couple more foolish man ones.
We actually have to get going.
All right. One more. A foolish man thinks he knows everything if placed in unexpected difficulty, but he knows not what to answer if to the test he is put.
Yeah. Oh boy, that guy was put to the test, and it's hilarious.
Awesome. Tenderby Clown.
This Clown.
Is Genie. We got Dizzy, and we've got Sykes that I know of.
Sykes, Tenderby Clown, Dizzy, and
I want to say I saw Star on there, but I might be wrong.
Well, I mean, even the
I'm sure Cora's in it again. I'm sure that Lydia is in it again. Lydia Bites.
I don't know if Lydia Bites is in it.
I hope so.
I hope so. I really like Lydia Bites. I don't know why. She's freaking cool.
I mean, yeah, Defaced is in it as well.
Defaced. You can bring up.
I'm going to.
I was like
hovering.
Defaced. I know Chaos
is
in it as
well.
Vote for them.
Oh, hey, Bubba Drew Reyes. I think I have him on my Facebook.
I don't know. We have a lot of hot actors on our Facebook, and everyone is in.
Okay,
the SAS
Star
right
is
now.
in the contest.
Okay, cool. Oh,
that's awesome. So there's yeah.
Okay, cool.
I guess Squeaks and Chaos are both in it. Yeah, lots of
Squeaks
great.
I didn't know Squeaks was in it.
Lots of great actors are in the SAS this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of good hot actors in the SAS. Yeah.
All right, so
guys,
yeah,
we gotta go.
We do have to go.
Mr. Ghoul is up next.
So much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. This was kind of a random show, but it was fun. I like talking about berserkers.
Yep.
All right, so have a wonderful night.
See you later. Bye.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.